Good evening, everybody. I am so glad you're here. And you know why? Because I'm going to get to talk about one of my most favorite things there is to talk about. Food! Yes! And if you didn't like it, you wouldn't be here either. So I want to take you through something so that you can transition your life, and especially starting in 2009. Because you know what? It comes to this time of year, especially after the holidays hit and we get to like January 2nd, and we decide, you know what? I've got to make a change in me because I want to be healthier than I was last year. You know what? We are all getting older, but that doesn't mean we have to go along with our age. We can be healthier next year than we were. Now I'm going to give you some tidbits tonight, some things that you might want to do when you get home, even through the holiday season. And I know the biggest thing that people talk about all the time is, well, Dr. Bob, what can I eat then? I'm going to give you an example. Someone I talked to today wasn't feeling 100%. And I said, oh, you probably had sugar. And they said, it was Thanksgiving. Of course I had sugar. And I said, well, you need to learn how to cook without it. And they looked at me and said, did you have pumpkin pie? And I said, I did. And it was wheat-free crust. And it was sugar-free pumpkin pie, and it was delicious. In fact, there was sugar pies at the same place where my pie was, and my pie was almost all gone, and their pie was hardly touched. So you know it's got to be good, right? You just got to learn transition. Then I heard about two people today, and both of them had cancer. And you know what? I really feel sorry for them because they could have been in this office being adjusted and they chose not to make that decision. And it hurts my heart because if they would come in and one, get adjusted, and two, work at changing their life, even the food they eat, they wouldn't be in the situation they are now. So I have to applaud all of you. First for getting adjusted because that is the best. And second, for being here tonight to learn a little bit more. Well, where is everybody always thinking about first? Dr. Bob.
Sugar.
How can I eat sugar? Well, I'm going to transition for you. Sugar's bad. But we need to go from bad to best. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till good becomes better and better becomes best. So I'm going to tell you right now, sugar is bad. Corn syrup is even worse. You need to get off of all of that and make a transition. Sometimes you might say, well, how do I do that? So that's what I'm going to help you tonight with a couple different types of foods. Let's take, for example, sugar first. If we look at our sugars, we can transition by going from bad to good. In good, we would talk about honey. Honey is 95% sucrose, so it is very close to sugar. I would also suggest if you're going to eat honey, you only get honey made in your locale. Which means if you live in Lorain County, you get honey that's from Lorain County. If you live in Cuyahoga County, you get honey from Cuyahoga County. It's the same thing as eating the foods that are in season in your locale. In this locality, in Lorain, Cuyahoga, Northern Ohio, you through the wintertime, for example, should be eating apples and pears only. You should not be eating citrus. Citrus is a food that should be eaten only when it's warm or in tropical climates, because citrus lowers your body temperature, okay? So if you're eating oranges and grapefruit during this time of year, it's the same thing with like eating a honey that's not from your locale. You want to eat things that are in your community. So I suggest that you go to your local small health food stores because they usually have local honey. Oftentimes driving out in the woods or in the countryside, you can see honey for sale at people's stands. Those are the honeys that you want to go get. So then there's something called molasses. And molasses is also something that you could get at your health food store. But molasses is very similar to sugar also. If you're going to get molasses, get black strap molasses. That is better. During the holidays, you can switch your sugar for sugar cookies to molasses and make molasses cutout cookies, okay? And I'm going to talk a little bit about transitioning in a few minutes, so we'll get some questions at the end too. Maple syrup is also another good. It's not better or best. Don't use things like Aunt Jemima. I'm sorry, Aunt Jemima syrup is not syrup at all. It's made out of things like cornstarch. You don't want, or corn syrup. You don't want to eat that. You go right to the good stuff. Pure maple syrup. Grade B is the best. It will cost you a little bit more, but it has all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that you would want. Maple sugar, pure maple sugar is made from maple syrup and it's granular, and a lot of people like that in their transition because it's granular like sugar. Now if you would come to Dr. Bob and Debbie's house, I very rarely use any of these. But if I'm having company, I might use it for people for my company because they're so used to sugar, okay? So that's what I'm trying to help you with, is if you are eating what Dr. Bob and Debbie eats, then you might want to transition and start with this, especially when you're having company. Now, we're going to go to better. And better, there's a couple things that I don't have, and better is barley malt syrup, brown rice syrup, and agave syrup, or agave nectar. Those are in the better category, and it is easier on your pancreas for you to eat those particular items. If you're going to use barley malt syrup, barley malt is a fuller flavor syrup, and I would only use it like for oatmeal cookies, carrot cake, things that seem to have a fuller flavor instead of something like your sugar cookies, okay? Like a banana cake, I would use more brown rice syrup than barley malt syrup, because barley malt has a hefty flavor to it, and you want to make sure that your taste buds are correct to the flavor of what it's supposed to be. For example, oatmeal cookies has a heavier flavor to it. Do you see what I mean? But if you're going to do a chocolate chip, I would suggest you to do brown rice syrup, all right? Now, going to best in the sugar category, there is something that I really like and probably is, if I'm going to bake at all, this is my baking of choice, and it's called Pear Sweet. You can get it at Wax Orchards, waxorchards.com, or its sister is called Fruit Sweet, and it's at Heinen's in Avon. And if you can't find it, go to the nutritional part. There's a row there, and ask for Cassie or Rosemary, and they will help you. Tell them Dr. Bob and Debbie sent you, and it's called Fruit Sweet. It's a little bit more of, remember barley malt and brown rice syrup, there's a little bit more flavor. Fruit Sweet has a little bit more flavor than Pear Sweet does, but you can't get Pear Sweet around here. You have to get it from waxorchards.com. You can get the telephone number for them, give them a call. If I'm to make anything, I make this. Now, I'm going to give you a recipe really quick for an icing, because people say, well, what do I frost my cakes with? Now, we normally do not eat dairy in our home, but if it's the holiday time and I want to make something healthy, I get organic cream cheese, 8 ounces of organic cream cheese, soften that. Get 1 stick of organic butter. I cream my cream cheese and my butter together, whipping it together. I use 4 tablespoons of pear or fruit sweet, 4 tablespoons, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I use organic vanilla, and I use alcohol-free vanilla. and you whip it together, and it's a great